And welcome to another edition of Cornette's Commentary right here on Who's Slamming Who. Today is Wednesday, April the 14th, 2010. It's Tommy Fierro, joined by the one and only Mr. James E. Cornette. Jimmy, what's going on, man?
Well, I'll tell you, Tommy, it's been a great week here in Louisville, Kentucky. Great weather for the past week, just beautiful springtime. My dogwood tree out the window of my office is in bloom, pink and white, beautiful flowers that I look forward to every year. We've been spring cleaning around Castle Cornette, planting some flowers. It's been a great week, except, Tommy, to be honest with you, my feelings are hurt. Somebody has really damaged my feeling. You know, I'm a sensitive guy, Tommy. A lot of people don't know that about me, but you know because you've known me for years. I'm a sensitive guy, and somebody's hurt my feelings this week. I've lost a friend, Tommy. I've lost a friend, and I'm just all tore up about it.
Wait, someone hurt your feelings?
Somebody has hurt my feelings. I've lost a nearly lifelong friend this week, and
well, I know named Kenny Bowen because you're probably happy about that.
Well, no, if I could get rid of him, I'd be happy. But no, it's somebody I thought was really, truly my friend, and I've lost him. And I'm going to tell the folks, if you don't mind, I'm going to tell the folks that listen to our humble little podcast here, Cornette's Commentary, I'm going to tell them about it today, and I'm going to see what they think because, Tommy, I got to tell you, this is Wednesday, as you said, April 14th. Well, day before yesterday, I got a letter, certified letter, return receipt requested. You know, when the mailman comes up the hill here to Castle Cornette and delivers stuff like that, you know, it's generally bad news, and this was bad news. I've lost a friend. I got a letter, Tommy, from TNA Wrestling's attorneys.
TNA Wrestling?
TNA Wrestling's attorneys sent me a letter, Tommy. And I tell you, you know, I'm not used to getting letters from attorneys because, you know, I'm a sensitive, quiet and shy, retiring kind of guy.
Sure.
And, you know, normally I get letters from the charitable organizations that I help out, you know, give money to Haiti, the earthquake relief, or the Crusade for Children, the WHAS Crusade for Children here in Louisville that I contribute to every year. One of the major fundraising charitable organizations on a local basis in the world. I get letters like that, but I don't often get letters from attorneys. But I got a letter from TNA Wrestling's attorneys, and it caused me to lose a friend. And you know, if anybody, for example, thinks that this is some kind of wrestling angle, I just want to invite you to go to Cornette's Commentary at JimCornette.com. You go to JimCornette.com, you click on commentary. It's headed a letter from TNA's attorneys, and you can read verbatim not only the letter from their attorneys, but also the email that I sent to a former friend of mine that evidently sparked this controversy. This is not a wrestling angle. It's not put up. It's not orchestrated or contrived. But don't click away from Cornette's Commentary just yet to go to JimCornette.com and read Cornette's Commentary on there, because I'm going to give all of the listeners of our humble little podcast, I'm going to give them the backstory to exactly how all this came to be so that it will enhance your enjoyment. It will elucidate you and educate you on how this all came about. So then after you listen to this commentary, then go to JimCornette.com, and then you'll have a little bit more understanding. So I just want to make sure, Tommy, you understand that and all the listeners understand that, right?
Yep.
Well, here's what happened. You know, about a month ago, I was clearing off the emails on my email because, you know, now that I do this computer thing, you know, these emails can stack up. You know, and a lot of them are just two lines, like I'll see you Tuesday or great commentary or whatever, so they can stack up. You agree with me there?
Sure.
So I was clearing a bunch of them off because, you know, with my OCD, I feel like it's unfinished business. So I was clearing them off so that I could, you know, make sure I wasn't overlooking anybody or missing anything or whatever, and I came across a letter from my old friend Terry Taylor. Now, a lot of people know that Terry Taylor is a bigwig executive with TNA Wrestling now, and you know, he's in talent relations. And a lot of people don't know that Terry Taylor and I have known each other for 30 years, and we've been, I thought, really good friends because, for example, I met Terry when he was a young rookie before I even got in the business, when I was still a photographer down in Memphis, and you know, we worked together there, and we worked together in Memphis, then when I got in the business, and then in Georgia, and then in Mid-South Wrestling, World Class, NWA for Crockett. then WCW, then we crossed paths in the WWE. The several occasions he was there, he kept getting fired and then getting rehired and fired and rehired. And then finally in TNA Wrestling. And also a lot of people don't know that I actually wanted Terry Taylor to be my top babyface in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. There was a period of time in 1995 where he was not being used by WCW. He was working for Eric Bischoff, the same guy that he has to kiss his ass now. He was kissing his ass 15 years ago. But Bischoff wouldn't use him, but he had a little part-time job at the Power Plant, that fast food wrestling school that didn't train anybody of note and basically took a lot of people's money. So, you know, he had called me and said, hey, you got any dates? And I wanted Terry Taylor so badly to be my top babyface in Smoky Mountain, but it never came to pass because I figured, you know, once Bischoff sees, you know, how good this guy is and when he's being featured, then, you know, he'll pull him and offer him more money and fuck me. So never came about, but that was only because of Bischoff and not, you know, anything that Terry Taylor did. And actually, the 3 years, excuse me, I spent in, somebody's trying to call me, it's probably TNA's lawyers now. The 3 years I spent in TNA, Terry and I, you know, he always returned my calls and I always returned his calls. We always had cordial, in 30 years, never had a crossword with this guy, which I can't say that about a lot of people in the world. And as a matter of fact, I even had a habit because Terry's perpetually on a diet. You know, he wants to stay in good shape. And but he loves French fries, loves some good greasy French fries. So when I would go at TNA after the production meeting where I would listen to Russo's verbal effluvia come to life on the printed page, then I would have to go and get a Philly cheesesteak and some fries to eat it to calm my nerves so that I could continue on with my life. And I would always share my French fries. It was a daily ritual down there on the TNA TVs with Terry Taylor. I'd share my French fries. I'd give him some, or sometimes when it looked like he was really stressed, I'd get him an extra order, and I'd pay for him, and I'd put him right in his place at the end of the boardroom table there in our production meeting. And we always had a great relationship. Well, as I was clearing off my emails about a month ago, I came to the last email that Terry Taylor had sent me, you know, when I had my departure from TNA last year, and it occurred to me that I'd never answered it. And, you know, I was feeling bad about that, and also because the email that he had sent to me said, Jim, you know, you'll always be my friend, and I know we'll work together again sometime, and I miss you. And, you know, so I thought I'll answer that because, you know, here's what I had in my mind, Tommy. I had in my mind that I've been pretty, as you will attest to, I've been pretty stiff with TNA wrestling on a verbal basis, on the commentary and various things I've said in various places. You'll agree with that, won't you?
Yeah.
Well, it occurred to me that maybe Terry Taylor and some of my other friends down there, because almost everybody in the company I like and consider friends, I've known them for years. Of course, many of them have been fired, but some of them are still there. I thought they may take it personally that I'm knocking the company they work for. So I wrote Terry Taylor an email, and you know, I told him I was going through and deleting emails. And of course, you can go to JimCornette.com, you can read this whole thing, but I'm just going to paraphrase now. You know, that I was going through and deleting my emails, and I found the last one from him, and, you know, I didn't want to stir anything up, but I had to explain some things, get some things off my chest, and I mentioned to Terry that I'd always liked him, you know, and that I'm sure that he'd heard some of my many commentaries on TNA, and I wanted to make sure that he knew that I wished him no ill will. I didn't wish anybody in TNA any ill will, the office staff, the TV crew, all the people that I liked. You know, that it was pretty obvious that I would have quit a month later anyway when they made the announcement that Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff were coming in to kill the company, just like they did to WCW. And, you know, the reason why I was there, as he knew, was, you know, I really wanted TNA to succeed, to be an alternative to sports entertainment and keep Vince from having a monopoly. And, you know, I was glad that I worked there. It's just frustrating, disappointing that it couldn't have turned out better because of the one guy, Vince Russo. And I proceeded to tell him, you know, like I've told everybody else, I've always been up front with this. Tommy, have you ever heard me shirk my duties or shrink from a controversy?
Never.
Or mince my words? No, I told him I hate Vince Russo, that, you know, everything, and very colorful language with all the reasons of why I hate Vince Russo and what I think Vince Russo's been responsible for. But I told him the reason why that I was writing him was, you know, besides the irresistible urge that I had to, you know, explain the depth of my hatred for this abominable fucking prick, I genuinely wanted TNA to succeed and worked hard there and like everybody there. And then I was only mad, at a few people. I was mad at Jeff Jarrett because he is the one who basically forced me to coexist with this fucking prick for 3 years and abandoned every principle I ever had, and where I have trouble now looking at myself in the mirror. But a lot of fans have absolved me from that. And, I was kind of mad at Dixie for employing the fucking guy, but also for lying about, me when she fired me, basically, because she said Russo had no part in it, and everybody knows he did. That's been a